A reading from the Gospel of John, chapter 3, verses 1 through 17. Listen for the word of God that is about to be born anew. Now, there was a Pharisee named Nicodemus, a leader of the Jews. He came to Jesus by night and said to him, "Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher who has come from God. For no one can do these signs that you do apart from the presence of God." Jesus answered him, "Very truly, I tell you, no one can see the kingdom of God without being born from above." Nicodemus said to him, "How can anyone be born after having grown old? Can one enter a second time into the mother's womb and be born?" Jesus answered, "Very truly, I tell you, no one can enter the kingdom of God without being born of water and spirit. What is born of the flesh is flesh, and what is born of the Spirit is spirit. Do not be astonished that I said to you, you must be born from above. The wind, it blows where it chooses, and you hear the sound of it, but you do not know where it comes from or where it goes. So it is with everyone who is born of the Spirit." Nicodemus said to him, How can these things be?" Jesus answered him, "Are you a teacher of Israel, and yet you do not know? You do not understand these things? Very truly, I tell you, we speak of what we know and testify to what we have seen, yet you do not receive our testimony. If I have told you about earthly things and you do not believe, how can you believe if I tell you about heavenly things? No one has ascended into heaven except the one who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. And just as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whoever believes in him may have eternal life." Say it with me. "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, so that everyone who believes in him may not perish, but have eternal life. Indeed, God did not send the Son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him." For the word of God and its promise and covenant. Thanks be to God. May we pray with one another. Come, Holy Ghost, our souls inspire and lighten us with your celestial fire. For if you so love the world, then nothing else matters. And if you do not so love the world, then nothing else matters. Help us, O God, to let go of being in the know so that we can be on the way with Jesus. We ask this in the name of your beloved. Amen. There are two things that we need to have out in the open right at the beginning of this sermon. First, I owe this message to the Reverend Barbara Brown Taylor and the 9th chapter, Born Again, of her 2019 book, Holy Envy. Her text should be required reading for every Christian, and I hope that you will pick up a copy. Throughout the sermon, I quote her and ad-lib on ideas she brought forward in her book. Second, today begins an extended period of playing hooky from the Gospel of Matthew. Now we are flirting with the Gospel of John, where nothing is ever only what it seems. Bread is not plain bread in this Gospel, it is the bread of life. Water is not plain water, it is the living water that gushes up to eternal life. Light cannot be measured by lumens or wattage. In John's Gospel, Jesus is the light of the whole wide world. Every noun in this Gospel that has anything at all to do with Jesus is symbolically capitalized, which is frustrating as heck for preachers. Because we want to concretize all the metaphors. We want to literalize all of the poetry and figure it all out so that we can solve this most mysterious gospel about an even more mysterious Jesus who is somehow, I don't know how, in divine union with a mysterious God and a scatterbrained spirit that blows wherever she wills, which is also a problem. We want to be in the know, and clearly the Spirit of God will not bend to our demands. She is beyond our control. She is not predictable. And her modus operandi is to be unexpected. In other words, she is one of divine surprise. Prior to seminary, I read convincing biblical scholarship that had me ready to rip out the fourth gospel straight from the canon. I concluded that John was the red-headed stepchild of the New Testament. Upon entering Bright Divinity School, I thought my professors would further fuel my distaste for the gospel. Never did I imagine that one professor might rescue the text and invite me to be human with the text and rest with what I do not and cannot know, and acquiesce to the Spirit who surprises, that blows wherever she wills, even within and beyond the text. And so, just let her surprise the heck out of me. But all this requires letting go of being in the know, being in control, where everything operates as expected and is predictable and certain. Speaking of being in the know, we know, do we ever know the story of Nick at Nite? We could retell it, remembering the important key details. Nick, a Pharisee, comes to Jesus at night, and it had to be late at night because daylight savings time had just occurred in the early first century. And presumably because Nick could ill afford to come by day when everyone could see where he was going and ask him why. But it is also possible that Nicodemus came by night because he knew that there was a better time to talk about things that matter. How often have we asked something by candlelight that we could never have asked under the light of a fluorescent bulb? Sometimes darkness is the perfect blanket for conversations that you cannot have in the broad light of day. Jesus tells Nicodemus about being born again, born from above. Nick, who does not get it, but every child who has ever been through Vacation Bible School certainly does and understands what it means to be born again. We know it too, right? Ask a child at VBS what the story of Nicodemus means, and that child will say, oh, Jesus meant that Nicodemus had to believe in him if he wanted to see the kingdom of God, one child might say. Or another, he meant that once Nicodemus had been baptized, the Spirit would come into him and he would understand everything. That's what Jesus was trying to tell him, but Nicodemus doesn't have faith, so he doesn't understand. Another youngster would quit. So we know this story. We know it very well. Sometimes we know something like Bible stories, like church, or someone like Jesus, like God, and the Spirit. We know it all so well that they no longer have the chance to surprise us. Whether we admit it or not, we don't like surprises. We'd much rather be in the know where everything is certain and predictable and expected. Just listen to the first words from Nicodemus' mouth. Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher. We know that you have come from God. We know the law and the prophets. We've done our homework. We've been scouting you for quite some time now. And we know, do we ever, that no one can do these signs that you do apart from the presence of God. We're not surprised, Jesus. We know. I love that, Nicodemus. Truly. He can do bad all by himself. He's speaking the royal we, like the royal family, though he is all by his lonesome there with Jesus under the dark veil of a dangerous night. Jesus doesn't wait for a question from Nicodemus. Instead, Jesus interrupts and cuts through all the perfunctory praise and posturing of what Nicodemus supposedly knows and says something astonishing, maybe even surprising. Look, Nick, I'm telling you the honest-to-God truth. No one can see the reign of God without being born from above. I'm guessing no one told Jesus that interrupting is rude. I can see Nicodemus shaking his head, his mouth agape, and mustering the following response to Jesus. No. How can anyone be born after having grown old? Can one enter a second time into a mother's womb and be born again? Moms, anyone? Yes. This is biologically impossible, Jesus. Poor Nicodemus. Bless his heart. He is a literalist, maybe even a fundamentalist. We know the type, 6 24-hour creation days, a literal flood of 40 days and 40 nights, which is to say nothing of Jonah, and that whale of a fish story. Even in contemporary religious life, some biblical literalists create creeds of inerrancy and infallibility because they want to be in the know. They want to know it all, to master the divine. Which, come to think of it, that's the degree I have from seminary. Even though I'm not a biblical literalist, I find the temptation to be in the know, to know it all, to have all the answers. I find it all oddly appealing. At least I won't be surprised. So am I, are we the people, like Nicodemus, who want everything to be literal, certain, predictable, and expected? Jesus, he doesn't miss a beat. He keeps on rolling with Nicodemus, I think having fun with him. Listen up, Jesus says, I'm telling you, no one can enter the kingdom of God without being born of water and the Spirit. What is born of the flesh is flesh, and what is born of the Spirit is spirit. Do not be astonished that I said to you, you must be born from above. The wind blows where it chooses, and you hear the sound of it, but you don't know where it comes from or where it goes, Nick. These words are not a judgment from Jesus upon Nick at night. Rather, Jesus is making a statement of fact, as you can tell from the very next thing that Jesus says. So it is with everyone who is born of the Spirit. Everyone. Nicodemus is not a special case. No one knows where the Spirit comes from or where it goes. No one. The only thing that sets Nicodemus apart is that he is so uncomfortable with his unknowing. His problem, my problem, and maybe our problem is that we think we we ought to be in the know. Shouldn't we? Shouldn't we be in the know? This is a difficult teaching for those of us who want to feel secure in our relationship with God, especially if our security depends on knowing how things work. When and where is the Spirit present, and who has access to it, and more importantly, who does not? What does it mean to be born of the Spirit? What must one do to experience a second birth? How can one be sure that it has happened? And what are the consequences for those to whom it does not happen? Are they eligible for heaven or not? All of these questions, all of them are symptoms of wanting to control the Spirit and make certain, predictable, and expected of what and who we cannot tame. Nicodemus, feeling like he just took a drink of water from a fire hose, wipes his lips and face and says with resignation, "So, how can these things be?" And Jesus answers him, "Are you a teacher of Israel, and yet you do not understand these things?" Can we say ouch? I mean, seriously, that had to hurt. To add insult to injury, Jesus dismisses Nicodemus' royal we and opts for the singular you. Are you, singular Nicodemus, a teacher of Israel, and yet you, singular Nicodemus, do not understand these things? Ouch. Jesus is getting personal. This is an ad hominem to the singular person of Nicodemus. Attack. At least that's how it feels on the first read. For some 2,000 years, Nick has been on the receiving end of a bad reputation because of this exchange with Jesus. Far too many overzealous Christians who think they are in the know or want to piggyback on Jesus and cast stones on the inquiring Pharisee who just wants to be in the know, to understand, to make sense of what Jesus is teaching. So I've always felt kind of bad for Nicodemus. He comes to Jesus with questions that really matter to him, but he cannot understand a word that Jesus says. And to make matters worse, Jesus is really hard on the dude. And at this point in the story, Nick realizes that he is in way over his head. This teacher, come from God, has turned out to be a Zen teacher whose Yoda-like koans are impenetrable. Nicodemus came looking for clarity. He might have even settled for cordiality, but what he has gotten instead is a burst of teaching that seems designed to keep him in the dark, but it feels really stupid. When Jesus finishes talking, Nicodemus is gone. He drifts off silently into the darkness of night, wherever he had come from, to take an Excedrin PM with a jigger of gin, all in a hope that he might get some sleep. Or maybe, just maybe, Nicodemus departed himself in darkness into the vast mystery of unknowing, aware of how much he does not and cannot know, and therefore cannot control, predict, or expect. Come to think of it, this sounds like a Lenten journey, a path on which the Spirit may surprise Nicodemus and us. Though this morning is beautiful and warm, finally, many of us come to Jesus at night under the cover of darkness with our deepest secrets and our desperate longings. Jesus, we know that you are a teacher who has come from God, for no one can do these signs that you do apart from the presence of God. But everything we know peanuts. And then Jesus starts in on us, just as he did with Nicodemus, with talk about being born from above and the surprising mystery of a spirit that blows wherever she wills. No one knows when the Spirit may come blowing through the trees, the windows, the open doors, pitching all the papers off the desk and making the houseplants shiver in their pots. As scary, scatterbrained, and unpredictable as the Spirit may be, what would happen if we let her blow us around a bit? When she flings us into other people, other locations, other states, even if she is trying to teach us something. When she drops us off in unfamiliar and unexpected places, we need to pay attention. She is completely trustworthy, even when we cannot know a single thing that she is up to. She comes, she goes, she gives life to all creation. We have plenty more questions, yes, but the answers are not vital as long as God the Spirit keeps on doing her thing within and beyond us. So what would happen, do you think, if we gave up being in the know for Lent? Could we be on the way with Jesus and the Spirit of God? Strangely, this is what it means to be agnostic, which is such a malign word, so often meant as distrustful or lackadaisical, when all it really means is that we do not know. According to Jesus, being agnostic, to not know, is true of everyone who is born of the Spirit. So after we meet Jesus under the cover of the dark night, the Spirit can blow us back into the night at exactly the right time, O dark 30. When Jesus asks us the multi-million-dollar question, you are disciples of Christ, and yet you do not understand these things? Let's lean in toward Jesus and say, no, Rabbi, we don't know. We don't have